Smart20, our Instagram at Smart24TV. You can visit our website as well for more information, and that's www.smart24tv.com for more information there. Thank you very much, and of course, let's get rolling. Let's get into, first of all, the stock market performances. Well, yesterday we had it was quite a bearish market. There was a bear market, of course, on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Things were not so good, definitely with several counters losing. However, we had a total of 7 companies or equities participate in trading on yesterday's trading session. And the day ended with only one gainer, who was Umeme Uganda Limited, who gained to a 200 shillings price, after gaining by about 0.5%. And then on the losing side, we had several counters. There was only one gainer, unfortunately. However, on the losing side, we had several people lose on the market. And of course, at the bottom there, we had Centum Investment, who came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 6.13%, closing the day with a price of 285.66. We also had MTN come out as a loser on the market yesterday, after losing to about 183.97, and that was a 3.17% loss there in the daily price of MTN Uganda stock. Then KCB Bank also came out as a loser at a 2.41% loss, and ended the day with a price of 1,301 shillings on the stock market there. We also had another loser, and that was Equity Bank Limited at a 1.12% loss, coming out with an end of day price of 1,523.52. East African Breweries Limited was another loser at a 0.99% loss, ending the day with a price of 4,856.22. And then Jubilee Holdings Limited lost by just 0.79% to a price of 8,228.06. Now, this market performance particularly drove the all-share index in the negative direction, and of course, we had a significant loss of over 20.45 points. And on a daily basis, when we do that counting, we see that there was a loss of 1.57% in the Uganda Securities Exchange all-share index. As you can see on the graph there, the points went down to as low as 1,280 from yesterday's 1,300 points, meaning significantly we are coming back to 1,200, where we have been trying actually to come back from that deep there. And you can see definitely the decline was steady across the year 2021. Of course, that was the last quarter of 2021. We still see that since the year began, this year, 2022, we have been seeing still a steady decline in the points on the Uganda Securities Exchange all-share index. And that trend continues, of course, to be fluctuating between 1,200 and 1,300 as well. And basing on the one-week performance in terms of the all-share index, we lost 3.52%. And on the 4-week loss, we had 1.76%, while an overall year-to-date loss of 9.89% has been registered. Now, regarding the local companies, we had the local company index also decrease by 1.83% to close the markets yesterday with 273.01 points. And then that makes it a one-week loss of 4.28% and a 4-week loss of a 4-week gain, however, of 0.46%. And while looking at a year-to-date loss of 15.91%, meaning in terms of the local company's performance, we're still seeing a decline in terms of the daily performance, but again in the weekly performance, and still a loss in terms of the year to date. Now, what does this market performance mean? Of course, it's creating investment opportunities for many young investors, for many new investors to come on board. And you can see counters that have been able to lose, like, for example, MTN by 3.17%. Definitely, we know that MTN will definitely come back strong sooner or later. And so these are opportunities and gaps that are created for you and me to be able to take hold of the chances and get to invest in some of these companies. The Uganda Securities Exchange has 18 listed companies, and amongst these we have 10 local or domestic companies that are domestically present here in Uganda, but we have 8 cross listings that are mainly from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And so this exchange provides opportunity through its various various stockbrokers for investors across the world and investors here in Uganda as well to make the most of their investments and make sure they can be able to trade and buy stock on this exchange as well as other instruments. Now, for you and me who would want to get started with this participation in the Uganda Securities Exchange securities, number one, you must have an SCD account. Like I said, always, it has been made easy and accessible. So you can now be able to open your SCD account with the help of your mobile phone by simply dialing *165# if you're an MTN subscriber. And of course, this was an initiative that MTN came up with during its initial public offer back in December 2021. And before you're able to open the SCD account, definitely they'll ask for your personal identification data, and that will include your national identification number, as well as for foreigners, your passport identification number for the details there of your account to be opened. The other option is to go online via the Uganda Securities Exchange website. That's at www.use.org.ug/UG, and then you'll find the USE Easy portal. And when you open that portal, you will be asked a copy, maybe a picture of your national identity card or your passport, and definitely your passport photo as well. And they will be able to open for you an account free of charge, absolutely free of charge, without any extra costs added to you as an individual. Now, this performance, let's look at the details of this performance yesterday. If you've been following the stock market in Uganda, relatively there has been very good days. There have also been some very bad days, but we are seeing that the general trend in the performance of companies has been moving at least towards the positive direction. And later on, we'll be looking at the report from the Uganda Securities Exchange, looking at the last quarter, the second quarter of the year, that is the performance from the month of April to the month of June. Definitely, they show a positive picture that the markets have improved with more investors coming on board, and of course, seeing that better improvements, or they're seeing that there's improvements also in the pricing of several counters. But the dominance has been mainly the performance dominance. Of course, the people that have outperformed other counters have been listed, and one of them is Wumeme. And Wumeme is one of the companies, if I can say, that has been able to maintain a very good record in terms of adding value to their clients. This is a company that has, at least every single year since the listing of the company, of course, besides a few exceptions, it has been able to at least give back to its shareholders through their dividend, their annual dividend, through giving good price valuations to their clients. And you're seeing they have also a very active market, very tradable, one of the most traded stocks, if I'm not mistaken, the fourth most traded stock. And so there has been quite a good movement by Wumeme on the stock market, and it's one of the counters that have been able to make the Uganda Securities Exchange remain resilient within these tough economic times, as of course investors are also constrained financially, and definitely this affects how they invest. But they have tried to put up a good fight, and their gain yesterday, of course, is following a series of losses they have also been witnessing on the stock market, at least in the past 4 to 5 weeks within the Uganda Securities Exchange. But overall, they have also been able to have a huge turnover, huge amounts of money that have been transacted on the stock market here in Uganda. Now, let's look at this counter of Wumeme in detail and see how they have been able to maintain this performance. Wumeme, as we may know, is a company that supplies and distributes electricity in Uganda. It was first incorporated in Uganda as a private limited company on the 6th of May 2004, and following, of course, government's initiative to make the company better and go public in 2012, on the 8th of June, the company went public, not on the exchange, but just public without going on the exchange. And later on in November, within the same year in 2012, the company was listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and is also listed, by the way, on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, the company is under a Madagascar company called Actis Investments, and itself also, this company has a subsidiary called Wumeme Holdings, under which Wumeme is actually affiliated. And when you look at the companies, for example, performance within all these years in Uganda, it has been quite good. Of course, faced with a lot of criticism, but has been able to remain resilient and distribute electricity not only here in Uganda, but definitely across East Africa. Now, it replaced the Uganda Electricity Distribution Limited Company, which was a company that was distributing back then, before the year 2004. And there was a concession period of 20 years that started in 2005 on the March 1st. And that was after the Uganda Electricity Distribution Limited Company handed over power distribution to Wumeme for the next 20 years, starting 2005. Now, Wumeme on the exchange, like I said, has been listed for 10 years approximately, starting 2012 in November. And it trades under the ticker symbol UMEM. And their international securities identification number is UG00001145. And Wumeme currently, very importantly, is the 10th most valuable stock. That is via market capitalization. They have a total market capitalization of over 325 billion Ugandan shillings, which makes about 1.48% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. And yesterday, as you can see on the graph, we had a price appreciation, and those are the green figures there, of 0.99 Ugandan shillings. Of course, yesterday's markets started with a price of 190.01, and by the time the markets closed, there was a 0.99 Ugandan shillings increase to 200 shillings, and they closed with a gain of 0.5%. Now, when you look at the volumes that were traded yesterday, they had a total volume of 648,100 shares that was traded. And these shares are valued at 130 million. Wumeme Limited is famous for having good turnovers, and you can see even this time round, 130 million on the Uganda Securities Exchange is quite something, I have to say, for you to trade on a single day. In particular, for a counter that trades at 200 shillings. And the total number of shares they have that are outstanding is a total of approximately 1.62 billion shares that have been floated on the exchange. And as I said, their market capitalization currently following that increase in price to 200 shillings is 323 billion Ugandan shillings. Now back to their graph performance. If you can look at the graph for the Wumeme stock, they have been able to maintain prices of 200 and 190 for quite some time. However, when you look at, for example, where we started the year from, we started the year with a price of 189 shillings. In terms of year to date, you can calculate that increase. So they opened the year 2022 with a total price of 189 Ugandan shillings. And since then, they have been able to gain 5.82% onto that. That is comparing the 200 shillings opening price today and the 189 Ugandan shillings closing price yesterday. Now, in terms of this year-to-date performance, comparing their first share price of 189 shillings and the current price of 200 shillings, they currently have been able to be ranked the third in terms of year-to-date performance here on the Uganda Securities Exchange out of the 18 listed equities. And they, of course, the shareholders here have to be very, very optimistic about Wumeme, investing in Wumeme, because even in terms of monthly performance, in terms of the last 4 weeks, they have been able to gain 5%, which is the best on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Yes, meaning at least in terms of monthly performance for the month of August, congratulations to Wumeme Limited. He has actually been able to outperform all the other counters. That is in terms of price appreciation. They have been able to appreciate by 5% in a monthly basis, and they have also been able to appreciate by 5.82% in terms of their year to date. And that's a very wonderful, wonderful performance from Wumeme. It's a counter that many people think mainly because of the influx of very many foreign investors who have taken very keen interest in the company, and they're investing huge amounts of money within this company that has kept it at least going for some time. But there's also some good level of investment by large companies like NSSF. NSSF is a fund where, of course, Ugandans saving for retirement are able to put together their money and save for retirement. Now, this body, just this year, during the Wumeme annual general meeting, and after, of course, declaring a dividend this year of over 54.9 Ugandan shillings, just NSSF was able to walk away with over 73 billion Ugandan shillings worth of dividends. That's how much NSSF has been able to invest. Remember, dividends come in terms of how much you've invested, depending on how many shares you have within the company. And NSSF was able to take away over 73 billion, which was close to 23% of the entire dividend share that particular period. And so because of these very many foreign investors, big bodies like NSSF coming to invest in the company, and also individuals, and these have kept the counter really, really performing well on the stock market here in Uganda. Now, looking at the last 3 months, we are still talking about Wumeme Limited. Within the last 3 months or so, that is, we are talking about probably May 27th to August 31st, yesterday. It is the third most traded stock. Numbers and volumes, by volume, of the stocks that are traded on a daily, they're coming in the third position out of the 18 listed equities. Now, this performance, of course, follows a total traded volume of 21.6 million shares within these 3 months, from the 27th of May to the 31st of August yesterday. 21.6 million shares, and they are valued at 4.74 billion Ugandan shillings. So in terms of trading volumes, they're coming in position number 3. But in terms of turnover, that is the amount of money that is within these transactions that has been able to be transacted, they are still coming on top of all the other companies, which is something you and I should actually be looking at very, very keenly. They have had average volumes of over 343,043 traded shares per trading session. That is on average. 300,000 shares on average per trading session within these last 3 months as well. And they reached a volume high of over 8.31 million shares, 8.13 million shares that was traded on the 23rd of August, year 2022. So they have really done so well. Whichever angle you want to look at the company, it has been really good, a very good performance on the market. Good turnover, very wonderful volumes are being traded, and a good average on a daily, a very good year-to-date performance, a wonderful monthly performance. So we just have to say that the sky is really the limit for Wumeme here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And if you just look at their trading within the last 3, 4, 5 days, 31st of August, like we have said yesterday, they had over 648,100 shares. And the day before, that was 29th, they also had over 101,200 shares. And then we have 2,000 shares on the 26th, and so many other very good volumes that have been able to trade on the Wumeme stock. So there you have it. That is Wumeme Limited for you. You can find more about Wumeme on their website, what they do. If you're interested in investing in Wumeme, please go ahead. The markets are open right now. 200 shillings is the opening price. That is 200. You don't have to have 1 million shillings to be able to invest in such a wonderful company that has such a good performance, with very good promises of profit, with very good and wonderful investment opportunity for you as an investor, and a value addition opportunity for your money. Wumeme Limited is a company listed for 10 years, at least with this experience on the stock market. Definitely they are not going to let you down. Get in touch with your stockbroker and get yourself some stock in Wumeme before it's too late as well. We're going to go into a very quick break, and of course, putting the Wumeme story aside, we have other counters that also try to do some good, to try to put up some very good performance, including Stanbic Bank, who traded the highest volume yesterday of, you will know the number when we return after the short break. Stay with us. My name is Anthony.